It's a great challenge living with HIV because the world judges you. As a woman, every person comes out with different opinions. Maybe she got it herself willingly, maybe she slept around, maybe she did all sorts of things that could get her into danger. Another thing is that it's hard to find someone to love, someone who can love you, who can accept you regardless your situation, someone who can stay when you tell them you're HIV positive. It's a challenge that way. My reaction when I found out I was HIV positive, as any other person, I was so scared. I could not believe it at first time. It was hard. It was a very difficult time for me, coping up with the thing that I'm HIV positive, looking in a mirror, looking at my body, looking at myself. I couldn't believe it. I could not. I could not believe I was HIV positive, but I was. How did I find out? I knew from the beginning that I could have contracted the virus, but denial took charge in my mind. I couldn't accept the truth. Because when someone comes into a room at night and rapes a woman, there are higher chances that person could be HIV positive, maybe you could get pregnant, maybe. I knew all those things, but I don't know what happened. I could not believe it, I could not tell anyone. So as time went on, I was so sad, so emotional, different things. I was so scared to stay in a room alone. I was traumatized. So I shared this with my mom, and then my mom shared it with the organization, and they decided to take me for counseling and guidance. The first thing my counselor told me was to take a test, which I couldn't agree with. I knew there were higher chances I could be positive because I didn't do the needful in the first 72 hours or 3 days. So now it had taken almost a year without doing anything. So as we went on with the counseling, 1 week, second week, I realized it was important, when you share something with someone who won't judge you, who is willing to listen, it helps your mind, it calms you down. So my counselor talked to me. I decided to take a test. When I took a test, it came out positive. I can't say yes, I can't say no. It's complicated. I don't want to believe I'm in a relationship because all relationships have been end with the word I'm HIV positive. That's where the relationship ends. At the moment, I'm going to a date. I've been to 1 or 2 dates with someone, but I know the time is going to come and I open up about my HIV status. There are higher chances he will go. So it's complicated. It's not easy telling someone you're dating you're HIV positive because you know very well that person might not stay. Like my previous relationship, we dated for 3 months, and this guy was serious, was asking for my hand in marriage, was I went to see his parents, his home, so I realized he was serious. I tell people I'm dating, I'm HIV positive, when I see that you're serious with the relationship, you want this relationship to work, and I know I can't lie forever. So I told this guy, no, I'm HIV positive, and he thought it was a joke. So I was like, let's go for a test. I know what I'm saying, I'm HIV positive, but I'm on medication. No, maybe he thought about it and he couldn't stay. So I told them, my motive is to end this virus. to end this pandemic, like to stop it. I want it to stop with me. So I tell the person I'm dating, say that he can know, maybe he can be supportive, he can help me in one way or the other. Unfortunately, they don't stay. Yes, I get scared. I'm always afraid. You know, sometimes thinking about it that you may pass the virus to another person, that thing alone makes you want to stay single. But I'm young. I'm young. I have to be in a relationship. I feel I want to be loved. But that thought of passing it to another person really scares me a lot. Yes, because even if I'm on medication, I know there is that small percentage that I could pass it to another person. And that scares me. Yeah, medication, HIV medication, like we are on different medications as people living with HIV. Mine, I take one pill every day, every single day at specific time. 8 a.m. in the morning, and it's been 8 a.m. in the morning every day. You know, when that alarm 8 a.m. in the morning, you have to take your medication. Like I have, like when Siri reminds me that, I feel like, sometimes I feel I don't want to do that. I don't want to take that pill anymore. But I know it's the reason why I'm still breathing. I have to stay consistent with my medication. So whether it's a small pill, whether it's one, whether there are 3 or 4, when that alarm calls you for your medication, it's another thing. But I love my medication because I'm alive because of it. At work, it's not been a problem. No one at work has ever discriminated me, because we all work for this organization and we are passionate about the people living with HIV. So my workmates have been so good to me, have been a nice people. But in the society where I stay, in the taxis which I use to travel in one place to the other, that saddens my heart that the society we live in still stigmatize people living with HIV. The people I call my family discriminate people living with HIV. Even some of them without knowing that I'm HIV positive, and maybe there is another person in the family who is not me and is HIV positive as well, because not everyone comes out to say, no, I'm HIV positive. So it's very sad for someone to speak in the public in the way that discriminates others. Like one time I was carrying my cousin's baby. This incident annoyed me, saddened my heart. I felt so bad, I was depressed. My cousin made a statement that if I realize someone is HIV positive, I can't allow that person to carry my baby ever again. And I was carrying her baby. I loved her baby. I felt so bad. I felt so bad. So I was like, but you know that people live with HIV. Even among us here, someone may be HIV positive. She said, if someone's here and is HIV positive, my dear, I didn't tell you to contract the virus. So bear. Can you imagine? I felt so bad that my family cannot even accept me as I am. Another thing, there are the people we fall in love with, the people whom we think love us. Like any person loves to have a boyfriend, wants to have a girlfriend. So this person comes in, promises you, I'll be with you, I'll love you. Like, you get touched, and by the end you say, you know, my dear, I love you too, but this is my status, I'm HIV positive. And that person says, no, I can't go on with this because you're HIV positive. think it would be better to end the relationship with other issues at least, other things, but not telling me in my face that you're leaving me because I'm HIV positive. So it's been a challenge, an overall challenge. Where I stay, you hear people making statements, you know. In the taxi, someone makes a statement. In your families, people make statements. So generally, people discriminate us who live with HIV. It's still in our society. Stigma is still rampant in our people. Yes and no. Why yes? I realized one thing. HIV no longer affects our bodies. It takes long to affect our bodies, but HIV affects our minds. It affects the minds. Like you think you cannot do this, you think I cannot do that. So there is a time when I was looking for a job before Hinton's Victory hired me. I was looking for a job, and all like my age mates, my old boys and my old girls, like the people I went to school with, they were all going to Dubai, they were all going to those countries. So like a friend of mine went to Dubai and she was like, I can connect you to this person and then you come to Dubai, it's a good pay, it's what. So I was on my bed and thinking everyone is going abroad to make money, but I cannot go anywhere because I'm like this. So that's how it sometimes affects your view of the future. Sometimes you feel you're left alone, you feel you cannot do certain things because you're HIV positive. And when you think about it clearer, without emotions, you get to know, no, I can do everything any other person can do. Because HIV is not a disability. I can walk, I have my hands, I can stand, I'm energetic. So why do I feel like HIV is affecting my future? So without emotions, I can say HIV has not affected the view for my future. I still hope to work hard and become successful like any other person. I have hope that scientists are working hard to develop a full cure, because sometimes I go look at the videos, look at documentaries, like when HIV was first discovered, how it used to affect people. It was a terrible experience indeed. And when you relate that to today, that I'm HIV positive and no one can notice, no one can know, like I can blend very well in the society. Those days people were really stigmatized so much, you cannot even compare that to what we are going through right now, you know. People used to get sick, but now bedridden. But now we can work, we can walk, we can live even long, we can have kids who are even free from HIV. So looking at all that the scientists have done, I have full hopes that we shall get a cure. Probably not on my generation, but maybe the next generation will be free from HIV. Thinking about that makes me even cry. People have a wrong view about HIV. They think when you have HIV, you're going to die. They think you can't live even a day, you know. My auntie, when I get to visit her, when I find she has cooked a funny meal like beans or posho or what, she says, no, let me buy you meat. Let me buy you meat. Let me buy you meat. I'm like, why? Because you have to eat well. These people are well. They can eat anytime they want, but for you, you have to eat well for the time you're left with. Oh my goodness. I'm also a person who can live like any other person, you know. Even people who are HIV negative can die and leave me alive. I can die from an accident and not HIV. I can die from any other thing. and not HIV. People think when you have HIV, you're supposed to die from HIV and you're going to die from HIV. That's not true. We can live, we can have healthy children, we can live for years. We've seen people 35 years, 40 years, and they are still living. So when I get my 25 years from add on to 30 years, that is 55 years or 60. That's okay. That's okay, and I'll be grateful to God. So another thing is that people think that when you're HIV positive, you're not supposed to be loved. You're not supposed to get married unless you get married to an HIV positive person. That's not also true. We've seen discordant couples. We've seen couples that have lived whereby a husband is HIV positive, a wife is negative. A wife is positive, a husband is negative. It's all about that bond, the love you have, and the belief you have, seeking medical attention, like seeking counseling, support, you know. We can love, we can be loved. The society sees that in a different perspective. It's not that every time you are in a relationship with an HIV positive person, you're going to contract the virus. No, there are protective measures all over. Can get support, we make a happy couple, a happy family.